All right, we'll get rolling right away today. We have Kim Haupt here from Career Connections for a quick presentation, about a half hour, about your next steps when you're looking for jobs. So I'll let her take it away.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. And I am going to remove this so you can hopefully hear me, and I'm far enough away from you. So good morning, everyone. Thanks for inviting me to your class. I always enjoy coming to this class to help you wrap up kind of where you've been investigating this whole semester. So I can't stress enough how important this class is. I know other programs on campus don't really have a careers component to their program area. So, and of course, as you've been finding out in law enforcement and public safety, there is a myriad of careers you can get into. So, and I hope this helped clarify things. If not, that's why I'm here, to help you wrap up. So today I just want to go over a little bit of what Career Connections does, our services, and most importantly, I'm going to do a little bit of a self-assessment with you, give you tips from other departments that I've gathered from like last fall. I reached out to a lot of departments and agencies to find out what they're looking for in the whole application, interviewing process. And then I might have you do a couple of activities, one activity for sure, and then give you some resources, and then follow up with how I can help with moving forward. So first of all though, I know you guys didn't you do a Strengths Finder initially? Okay, so if I could get just a little bit of your feedback of a little bit of what you learned about yourself from that. Anything surprising after doing the assessment? I'm seeing shrugs. Okay, I want to keep you guys awake, so I'm going to be asking you questions, so please participate. So in any event, Career Connections. So our mission is to assist students and alumni reach your career objectives, really. We want you're coming here to school for at least 2 years. Maybe you're going to be moving on to get your bachelor's degree. So we want to make sure your time and effort is geared towards what really you want to do for a career. So we do that through a variety of ways. We do class visits in a variety of classrooms, resume writing, interviewing, things like that. We do workshops. Because of obviously the campus shutdown, we're actually moved virtually, so we do virtual workshops. There's some on our website that are recorded, so you can watch them on your own leisure. And I also work with students and alumni and community members one-on-one. So, and provide career assessments, provide mock interview opportunities, and most importantly too, I help you with the internship process. If you want to do an internship kind of above and beyond what your program requires. So typically you probably would have seen me a lot by now, because in the spring I would have done a lot of class visits, and also early fall promoting the internship program. So unfortunately, obviously we've shut down. And also departments and agencies kind of put their internship programs on hiatus. But I'll get more into that a little bit later. But otherwise, I've been here at WCTC for, it'll be 9 years on Sunday, and working 7 years with the criminal justice students in securing an internship. So, and I actually was almost this far away from being a police officer's daughter. My dad back in the day was a police aide for the Milwaukee Police Department, and for whatever reason didn't pass like the typing test, things like that. So he didn't further his career with the MPD, but I was almost a daughter of a police officer. And he decided to go into the Navy Reserves instead. So anyway, so that's my connection to you guys too. So, and my number one strength is connectedness, and which is so appropriate for this position I'm in, because I love connecting students with internship opportunities, whether it's criminal justice students, or I work with web and digital media and graphic design students, and also in construction management. So I really love making those connections and getting your first foot in the door for what you're going to be doing for a career. So that's a little bit about me. Here's my contact information. So I'll give it again at the end. So I'm always available to you even after you graduate to help you with your any career advice. So So as I said earlier, I'm doing a little bit of a self-assessment. What's your why? So you, again, did strength finders, things like that. So, and are any of you in the CJ Capstone course with Mr. Stigler? So one is, okay, so you get into this a little bit too. You really you need to know yourself first before you go on to any, before you start applying for jobs. Really, you're going to be more confident on interviews and things like that when you know why you're getting into the field you're getting into. So I've worked with a lot of different students, and really that's the first question I ask when I meet with them is, well, why are you choosing the criminal justice program? And I'm always touched by everyone's story. It could range from, you know, sometimes it's been through trauma that they suffered as a child. I had one student probably 5 years ago that as a child he was going down to the mailbox to get the mail and he actually was almost abducted, and which is horrifying. And the police officers that responded, he was just so taken with their care and how they handled it. That's what really persuaded him to want to be a police officer, to be able to be that person in case that should happen again. So, and I think it goes into more of just wanting to help people, right? So first of all, you know, it's something really critical to talk about really your why and above and beyond just helping people. So does anybody want to share their story of their why they're getting into this field? I wish I could have my candy here to give to you as a as a bonus. I'm sure you've all heard your stories, but I haven't. So one person, oh my gosh. Yes, thank you.
As a career field, because well, yeah, obviously we all want to help people going in this career field, but honestly, going to work every day, coming home and having that feeling of like self-fulfillment that you actually like did make a difference today, rather than like, oh, I just want to help people. It's like, no, like I sent the ambulance to that person, or I did CPR to that person,
Right.
you know, whatever.
Yeah, making a difference in someone's life, being that first person on the scene to help comfort them, you know, in a traumatic situation, and self-fulfillment. That's wonderful. So, awesome. Also, it's a good time to think of what experiences, characteristics, and traits that make you unique. You're all getting the same degree here, right? So, really, what's going to help you stand apart? Is it your passion? Is it your, you know, a calling? Are you part of the KOP group here, club? Do you have a current job that maybe is in customer service that takes you above and beyond? Have you been complimented by instructors, supervisors, coworkers of as, you know, being somebody who can always be counted on, who's loyal? Things like that. Really, what's going to help you make you stand out? And also, what is your social media presence? This is your personal branding. Again, when you take the CJ Capstone class, you're going to get a lot hear about this too. Is how are you branding yourself to everyone out there? Whether it's on, I don't know, Instagram. You're probably not on Facebook, but if you are, that's important too, to show like this is a career you want to get into, and that shows in the posts you make, the comments you make on other posts. Police departments and agencies check that when they do a background check on you, so that's critical. And also using LinkedIn too as a professional presence as well, which I'll get into a little bit later. So, activity. This is your first activity. So if you could all pay attention. I know a lot of you have laptops, or if you have a pen and paper to bring that out. It's really a simple activity I want you to do. It's called Same and Different. I want you on one side of your paper, or pull up a blank Word document. Left column is same. Think of all the characteristics and background of like folks in this room of what makes you the same. And then in the right column, I want you to title that Different, and really think about what makes you different from your peers here. What's going to help you stand out in an interview? What's going to help you stand out, on your resume to really catch the eye of the person first reviewing the resume and then at your interview as well. So I'll give you a few minutes to finish that. And yes, I will ask you to share. So I'll give you another minute or so. Other activities like volunteering. Do you guys volunteer at all? Help a neighbor. You're going to a field to help others. So how are you going above and beyond right now? And that might be, maybe you're balancing full-time job, school, and family. I mean, that's time management right there, getting straight A's. That's amazing. Were you in any Explorer programs? Have you done ride-alongs? Have you done informational interviews with anyone? All right, is everyone finishing up? Awesome. All right, so who would like to share? Or I'll call on you, or have your instructor call on somebody. Anyone? I got all day. I can stay here, so.
Starting with same?
What?
Starting with same or doing both?
Same, yeah, let's go, what's the same first and then what is your different? Yes, our participant.
Same thing is we all have the same education pretty much. We all went for the same degree.
Okay,
We all have like the same desire to be in law enforcement, get a career in law enforcement. We're all around pretty much the same age, so it's really not much difference there. But
oh, good observation.
you want to do different too, or just?
Yes, please, what's your different?
My difference is I'm probably one of the oldest people in this room with a lot of life experience and professional experience already. I was an explorer and an auxiliary officer, and I've already been in law enforcement career for 8 years and really have a lot of experience with technology, CAD systems, stress situations, and communication.
Great, that's great. Okay, one more. If I could hear from one more, that'd be great. Yes?
I would say my difference is that I'm a title holder within the Miss America organization, so I have countless hours of volunteer work.
What type of volunteer work?
Pretty much anything that they need me to do, like I volunteer for. So I've been a title holder. This is my third title that I'm holding, so.
Okay.
I mean, if I have enough parents, it's usually 2 to 3 hours of volunteer work, and depending how often I do it.
Sure. That's great. That does help you stand out. So, and I'm sorry, how long have you been doing that again?
Since my sophomore year in high school.
Okay, good for you. Anyone else want to share how they're different? How are you going to stand out? Yes.
The one thing I think I stand out is every single year I will help my aunt who's a dispatcher in Germantown, and they will always have like this event with a bunch of kids and all different law enforcement from like Jackson to Hartford or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I will help her volunteer to make buttons for them. And then I earned a lot of like community hours from her because we do it every single year, and I think lasts like 3 days. So I'm there for like hours.
Right? That's a great experience. You're around a lot of different law enforcement folks and everything, and you're helping kids,
One
so.
of the wife brings me food, so it's okay.
Okay. It's always important, right? Awesome. All right, anyone else want to share? I love hearing how you're different, because you all have unique characteristics and have unique experiences. So really, really focus on that, okay? Great. All right. Next, what do departments look for? As I mentioned earlier, I reached out to several departments and agencies last fall when I was putting this together for last year's classes. So, and I just want to get a sense of really how can I pass this information on to you to help you guys stand out when you're applying for positions and interviewing, actually. And again, I know you're going to go through this in the CJ Capstone class, but these are folks that I work with regularly for the internship program. So they all said basically for the application resume process, details matter. You really need to pay attention to requirements. Have all required documents included, including the cover letter. This happened, I think this was the city of Delafield that described how many folks didn't attach their cover letter with the whole, the whole application packet. So if you forget one item, that's going to put you in the no pile, the disqualified pile. So make sure you include everything. Make sure you have the correct department name in essay questions. This again is a small detail, but if you're copying, pasting, probably many departments are going to have you answer a few questions and they might be repetitious. But if you're just copying and pasting and throwing in like a Word document to upload and it says you're applying to West Bend or Department of Corrections and you have, West Bend Police Department and here it's for the Department of Corrections, that doesn't look favorable for you because you're going into a job that you need to know details as well and you're going to have to fill out reports and be accurate. So make sure that's correct. And again, no grammar or spelling errors on your resume, because again, that looks like you don't have attention to detail. So it's always great to have somebody, 3 or 4 people look at your resume many times to make sure there are no errors. Because if you're probably working on your resume a lot, so it's going to look familiar to you. This happens to me a lot too. I always have my coworkers proof any handouts, documents I create just to make sure it's all good. And in integrity, they're looking for integrity. Again, that goes into lack of negative police contacts, your job histories, etc. Be upfront and explain how you overcame issues. Don't lie. And this is even, they look at parking tickets, speeding tickets, things like that. And if you do have anything in your background, always make sure, again, be upfront about that. I've reached out to Mr. Scrignoli is the internship instructor I work with, so I've reached out to him a lot in the last 2 months. I've worked with students and alumni that are applying that have had issues like with a past supervisor, and they're not sure how to answer those questions. So, he's always coached me, you have to talk about it, be upfront, and then you need to follow up with what you did to rectify the situation and how you're working to overcome anything that's happened in your past. So, and they're looking for commitment, community involvement, your school history, attendance, extracurricular activities if you're on the honor roll, internships, CSO positions, any non-sworn position, military service, anything, again, that shows you're going above and beyond. And then again, that is put on your resume, so they get that right out of the gate, so they can get a good picture of who you are. And of course, they look for folks who are certified. So the folks that responded to me were from smaller departments, so that's something, if you're going to be a police officer, that these days they may not be able to put you through the department, they may not have that in their budget. So if you're certified, that again puts you kind of a higher level up than the other candidates. So what they look for in interviewing, communication. No matter what career track you're going into in public safety, communication is key. If you're going to be kind of more in the human services area, if you're going to be a parole agent, you're going to be, you need to how to communicate, and part of that is listening. Large part of communication skills is listening to folks and being able to talk to someone. They're looking for giving thoughtful, well-articulated answers that show prior preparation. And I just want to give a short example of how this could make or break you. And again, I don't know how accurate this is going to be, but yesterday they had a forum for, as you know, we're in a candidate search for a new president for the college because our current one is retiring in December. So yesterday there were 2 forums and via Zoom. I don't know if any of you watched those, but the first candidate just started talking about himself and speaking in generalities. He said he was a hard worker, and then he kind of chimed in, well, ask anybody you know. He's had prior experience working in the Wisconsin Technical College system, and he just said, well, ask anybody in the college system, they know me. And then later on he was talking about how he's a caring person, and you can just ask my assistant, she can tell you how I reach out to others and things like that. I'm like, well, why don't you tell me? he wasn't giving any examples. And the second candidate started off right off the bat. She did a 15-minute introduction of herself, her career progression, talked about examples of how she handled situations. So it, again, and my coworkers and I were kind of messaging back and forth because we do this for a living, like, oh my gosh, I did not get a sense of the first candidate, like how he would handle situations, because he never went into specifics. So I can't stress that enough. It just, and again, I say that because it showed, I don't think it showed that he had prepared for it, his talk. So, and again, it's so important to relate each question with an experience and tell a story or give an example. And always give the example. We have a little acronym called STAR response, where you give the situation, the task at hand, the action you took, and the result. Always mention the result. So in an interview, you might be asked, well, tell me about a time you didn't get along with a supervisor or coworker. So you need to make sure you explain the situation, your role in that, your task, the action you took to resolve it, and then the actual result. Because again, they're going to judge you on or reflect on your past experience, and how you handled it is going to be how you're going to handle something in the future. So again, you want to make sure you're telling them the story and painting that picture, and they're not asking you like 6 follow-up questions because you're not really giving them any information about yourself. And please don't ever assume everyone has read your resume. So that please get as well. Okay, so they also said engaging the interview panel in respectful and appropriate dialogue. So you're learning the latest terminology about everything, Homeland Security, terrorism, policing. Use that language in your interview because that's appropriate for the field you're going into. And again, of course, speaking it with confidence, not talking in circles. And they're going to realize that you're going to be a little bit nervous, of course. That's normal in interviewing, but making sure that you have a good point to your story. So if you kind of frame your answers with that STAR response, that'll help you to help hopefully bring the story back, and you won't be going on and on for 5 or 10 minutes about something when you could have wrapped it up in 3 or 4 minutes. So, and then of course demonstrate that you can communicate effectively and interact with the public. So again, these are stories of when you volunteered, when you worked with the public, when you worked with other departments and agencies, or did ride-alongs. How did you handle yourself? Do you have a job in customer service? They're probably going to ask you lots of questions about dealing with irate customers, because you're going into a field you're going to have to diffuse stressful situations and things like that. So make sure you're able to communicate that. Again, in interviewing, they're looking for professionalism. They want to make sure you have wearing the proper attire, you're well groomed, you have good eye contact. So good eye contact is not obviously staring directly at them like a robot. More than likely you're going to be having a panel interview, so there's going to be 3 or 4 people, so just making sure that you're glancing at everyone, especially the person that asked you the question. They usually take turns, so make sure you're acknowledging them, but acknowledge everyone on the panel. And arrive at least probably 15 minutes early. Any earlier, it might throw them off, or any later, who knows, you might run into traffic issues, so just make sure you have plenty of time. And they're also looking how you carry yourself in your presence. So of course, you don't have a second chance to make a good first impression, so they're gonna kind of judge you on your attire, of course, so make sure everything is looking good. And more importantly too, they're looking for critical life skills. They're looking for folks who are flexible, adaptable, can multitask. Your daily, you're not going to have a routine other than probably the time you start your job. So every day is going to be different, and you're probably going to have to handle a lot of different crises, perhaps all at the same time. So just make sure that you can demonstrate how you've multitasked in the past and currently. They're looking for folks who can work on a team and obviously on your own, and can use good judgment in decision making. And again, that goes through the stories you're telling. So, okay, so preparation. So I saw one hand go up that you're in the current CJ capstone class. So the rest of you will be taking that class eventually, probably in your last term here, because that's really going to get you ready to start applying and kind of get you going after you graduate. Other ways to prepare, KLP involvement. Again, I'm not sure how rigorous that is right now, but again, maybe there's some things that you can take part in. Doing ride-alongs, again, due to COVID, that's probably on hold right now with various departments and agencies, but you can certainly call to inquire.
There are a lot of agencies that are still doing that.
Are they doing, okay, I'm glad to hear that. So do an informational interview, see if call a department agency, see if anybody's available to do an 15, 20-minute informational interview. Get experience as a CSO reserve officer. I was working with a student in the summer that wanted a fall internship, but he was going through the application process to be a CSO at Oconomowoc. So I'm like, great, you're going to get your experience there. So, but he wanted an experience with a different department. A job in security here on campus. I know they still need security officers. And through community service, volunteering, as a couple of you mentioned already, and then of course through an internship. So is there anything on the list that I forgot that you guys can think of how to prepare in a career in law enforcement? Anything else? Yes, sir.
Like engaging with the community more.
Yes.
While you still can.
Right.
Like have that time to.
Right, engage with the community, right. Think of local organizations you can be a part of.
But some of those free trainings that Lauren from the jail talked about, crisis intervention training through NAMI, and stuff like that you guys can take.
Perfect. Yeah, NAMI training. I know I participated in that when they were on campus like a year and a half ago, and I don't think you can have that too many times, really.
Especially going into the career field you guys are planning on going into, knowing the mental health crisis that exists in the U.S. today.
Right, it's crucial, right. In a different class last year, somebody mentioned physical fitness, right? If you want to be going to law enforcement, police officer, sheriff, things like that, you need to be physically fit. One of my coworkers was a mentor for someone with the MRC, and she graduated a year ago in May, and she's going through the hiring process, application process through the Waukesha Sheriff Program. She got her second interview 2 weeks ago. She wasn't able to pass her physical yet because the push-ups got her. So they're giving her a deadline to follow up, to finish the push-ups by a deadline. But again, she's been wanting this again for over a year. She's graduated a year ago. So making sure that you can pass that physical fitness test as well. So start on that now. And I actually worked with a student, had a meeting with her a week ago. She's started working with a trainer already, and she's graduating next May. So again, you can't start too early. All right, so here I am going to briefly talk over the internship, even though it's kind of on hold for right now. But I want to tell you about it because I am actually working with a couple students, because I'm going to reach out to departments and agencies probably in another 3 or 4 weeks to see if they have any availability for spring. Obviously, we don't know what direction COVID's going in right now, but I want to make sure that I do my outreach so that way if there are openings, our students get first access to those, if you're comfortable with that. So to do an internship, it's a 1-credit course. So again, it's above and beyond your program, what your program allocates for right now. So it really is showing that you really want to go into this career, that you want to do the internship. We offer it in all 3 semesters, and I know we've gone to 8-week formats in fall and spring, but we keep the internship at a 16-week semester in fall and spring because you need to work 144 hours at your work site, and that averages to about 9 hours a week in fall and spring, the 16-week term, and 18 hours a week in the summer term. To be eligible, you need at least 2.5 GPA and at least 30 credits in the program. And then I start working with you the semester prior to you wanting to do an internship. So right now, if you're interested in spring, if you think you have the eligibility requirement or eligibility, you meet those, send me an email because I at least can get you started and put you on a list. And then, like I said, if things are go up with a few departments, then you start the application and the process from there. I do not place you in any internships. Mr. Scrignoli does not. So you earn that. So it's, resume writing. I get you prepped with interviewing skills because I want you to be selected. So I go through that. Typically, and I have Ms. Zwitlik up there. Did she speak to you from PNP? Okay. So as she told you your story, she was a dual student with the Human Services and Criminal Justice, and she got her internship with the Waukesha PNP and had actually put her application in ahead of time, but they saw her, how she carried herself and how she handled herself. So it really made that kind of job easy. So talk about getting your foot in the door. That was a great opportunity for her. And Officer Strunzi actually did his internship at the Hartford Police Department in the spring of 2018, and his last day on the job, because he had applied to be a CSO in that at that department. Last day on the job, they called him back from a ride-along with an officer and said, "Oh, well, as you know, we have an opening for an officer, so this is going to be your interview." And he's like, "Oh," he didn't prepare because they kind of caught him off guard, but they already knew who he was because he had a whole semester on his internship working with him. So that following fall, so he got the job, put him through the academy. The only caveat was that he was in the National Guard, so he only had about a month to go with his academy training, and he was called up back, so he had to go. I think he went to Afghanistan for 6 to 8 months, and this spring he was able to finish his academy training, his certification, so then he was able to actually become a full officer this summer. So that's the quickest it's ever happened that I've worked with internships, but again, this is a good way for them to know who you are. Different things you can do while on an internship for police or sheriff's departments. You get to really observe a lot of different things, obviously. Probation and parole as well. You've already heard from the folks. So that's my commercial about an internship. Other resources I want to give you, I'm not sure you're aware. WileyNet.org, you're probably going to hear a lot about this or you probably already did, right? Did you hear? Pardon me?
WileyNet is on their test.
Awesome. All right. It should be, right? And you'll hear more about that. Okay. I'm not sure if you're aware of Jobs That Help is a website for, see if I can click on it, nonprofit agencies, maybe those of you who want to work for maybe like Sojourner Peace or Sojourner Truth House, get more into advocacy, help that way, or like Rogers Behavioral Health, things like that. This is the website to kind of check for those positions. So it's jobsthathelp.com. Oops. Handshake. So many of you might be familiar with our job board here at WCTC. It was called Wisconsin Tech Connect. It's now called Handshake. So if you were previously enrolled with Wisconsin Tech Connect, your information was migrated over. You just need to log in and then possibly reset your password. But if it's brand new to you, please sign up for this. You have access to this even after you graduate. So there's, thousands of job postings in here. So you want to start the process by going to joinhandshake.com, click sign up, and then put your email address in there, and it's going to ask you for a lot of information. And what's great about this website, you create a profile, somewhat similar to, I don't know if you've been on, LinkedIn, but you can create a profile about yourself, you can upload a resume, you can start following companies, agencies, things like that. So if they do have a position posted, you'll be notified right away. It's kind of really cool, and it's user-friendly. So please sign up for Join Handshake. Obviously, specific department, federal agency websites. In the past, there have been federal agency internships that are typically been in the summer. So again, most of them post their openings this fall. So if you're interested in doing an FBI internship, things like that, go to their website now and start looking at that for that criteria. Obviously, waukeshacounty.gov jobs, I'm sure they went through that, Department of Corrections. And then another resource is social media. I know, again, you're probably not on Facebook, but if you follow departments and agencies that you want to work for, it's a great way to see how they are community related and interact with their community. If you are on Facebook and if you're not following Muskego Police Department, you're missing out, because whoever's handling that account and does the recap of their calls each week, oh my gosh, it's hilarious. So, and we need some laughter and fun with this. So, and a lot of times, like the Waukesha County Sheriff posts openings via Facebook, and also as well as LinkedIn. LinkedIn is professional networking, so you can follow up departments and agencies. You can see, maybe if this is a way you want to do a informational interview with somebody, that's a great way to make that connection, is through LinkedIn. And
Captain Tommy Vento with the City of Brookfield Police Department used to do all their hiring. And his favorite question to ask in an interview was, tell us what you know about our community and our department. So that's an excellent way. Just scrolling through Facebook or Twitter every day and just finding these little tidbits about those departments. Follow those departments you want to work for, because there's a good chance it's going to come up in an interview.
great advice. It definitely. And if you don't know anything about their department, you've just lost really good points with them, because you really should. And it's not, oh, because I drive by and it seems cool, it seems like a nice department. No, they want specifics. Like, are they doing any outreach in their department now? What are their community events like, even from a year ago? Just knowing those little details is really going to help you stand apart. And that's what it's about, is really to show that initiative. And
at the very least, before you go to an interview, just check out their webpage. And
Right.
get some tidbits off of there.
Right.
Before every interview for any department.
Yep. They may not, you don't have to totally memorize their report from last year, but knowing what their mission and vision statement are, kind of current issues that they're dealing with in their community, that's crucial. So, okay, so how can I help? So, as I mentioned earlier, I work with criminal justice students, whether you're currently enrolled, after you graduate, to help you with your career pathway. So, we do have a website. And the easiest way I can explain it to you is to go to the wctc.edu homepage. Maybe. Okay. And scroll down until you see Explore Careers on here on lower right. And then scroll down some more. And here is our contact information. Here's Explore More Career Connections resources. And then here we have tabs on everything under the sun, with career exploration to writing a resume, things like that. Our virtual workshop links are here. So I just want to briefly show you that. Okay, how else I can help you? So you've heard a lot of experiences from a lot of different folks in public safety. So if you're still unsure of really what career path you want to take, I can help narrow that down with you, give you a few assessments to take, give you more resources to do more research on the various career pathways. So again, that's where we can meet to do that. I can help you with a resume review. Again, this summer I met with an individual. He was transitioning from being a firefighter and he wanted to apply to the Waukesha County Sheriff Deputy position. So I helped review his resume before he applied. I helped him review I did a brief mock interview with him to practice on how to handle that situation with a previous supervisor that he didn't really have a good relationship with. The job search application process. I mean, you guys are getting all these resources now, but I can help you maybe come up with a plan to help you with that, and then also help you with your personal branding, and especially LinkedIn. Help you develop that profile too. All right, does anybody have any questions? I've gone through a lot of information, a lot of talking. Anybody have anything to add? Okay. Well, this has been fun. So please reach out to me at any time. And if you're interested in internship, please send me an email now. Let me know, and then we can move forward with that. And if it doesn't happen in spring, hopefully summer, we can get you going on that. So, great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.